we trauma bond when we talk. You and I, we trauma bond, and we talk about our previous traumas, and
Yeah,
we always get back to one situation.
when we get together, and I know for those of you that are like, what the hell is this episode about? Look, this is just everything in the kitchen sink, okay? Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new installment of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. You guys, this is a big day because I have a guest that was here in episode 3, and now he's going to be here in this episode. Please welcome back Daniel Rivera.
What's going on, Nick? Thanks for having me back on, man. I'm excited. I'm the first guest to be on twice.
Yes, you
Yeah.
are the first guest to be on twice, and that is
Sorry,
because
stole your thunder.
you are my honey bunny. We are each other's honey bunny.
We are one. Don't tell my wife that. Nick is one of my best friends. You are. Well, I mean, here's the thing. You're the only guy that I think you're the only friend that I talk to. That sounds sad. Besides my wife.
Because I'm the only friend outside your wife and God that you have. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you're not wrong. So,
So you guys really, this podcast is dedicated to the disabled community, obviously.
yeah.
But today, this is just me having fun with one of my best friends in the whole entire world. And so I don't know if we'll talk about disability a lot today, but you're just going to get to know me, kind of outside the disability realm because I'm a fun guy. So, and we're just going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. Daniel,
Yeah. And
Daniel just actually asked me before coming on an air, what are we going to talk about? And I said, I have no idea.
whatever, just whatever. Well, here's the thing. On the subject of disability, I mean, we both have a disability, obviously, very different disabilities, and you've had me on your show before. So, on that topic, there's plenty of that between us. So we understand that side of it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, he has more of a mental disability than I do. And that is not
Just the way you said it.
that is so true.
You're not wrong, but it was just the way you said it. He has more of a mental disability.
Well, see, here's the thing, and this is how I
Mentally
can tell
challenged,
you.
folks.
This is well, and this is how I can tell you is
Uh-oh.
that I never have to call any of my podcast guests to be on the show. Like I never have to remind them the day of their interview, like, hey, are you coming on the show? I called Daniel 2 minutes before we were supposed to start, and he was like, "Oh, I forgot." I'm like,
I mean, I did. I've got a lot going on. I've got kids and a wife, and it just
but she's not
happened
there
like
right
that.
now.
She's not there right now. This is my time when like it's just me.
And your
So
kid's laying down, so you can't blame your kid
my,
either.
that's true. I'm sorry, Nick. I was late, so I apologize. I am here now in the flesh. I mean, not literally,
But
but
you know what he did, guys?
what I
He
do.
was like, and this is classic disability. This is what we all do. We blame our disability. He was like, I have a bad memory because of my
I
seizure.
didn't say that. I didn't.
Well, I'm just adding it for flow because that's what you would normally say anyway. So technically, you did.
Well, I'm sorry. I was so the reason why my eyes are like everywhere right now, and I am engaging in a conversation with you, but like as all of us are very attached to social media in some way, and we just, for unfortunately, we have to look at our phones. So I was looking at Facebook, and my Facebook wasn't showing up, and I was like, "What's wrong with my phone?" And so I just Googled, and Facebook, Instagram, and Threads are all down right now. So there's your update
Uh-oh.
for the day.
That means the world is ending.
The world. Let's start talking about that because it's like every 5 years we hear it in a Christian circle that Jesus is
Oh
coming
my
back.
God. Oh, jeez. Yeah,
Yeah.
did you know that the comeback of Jesus has been delayed 4 more years because President Trump got back in office?
Shots fired. Now everybody knows Nick's political stance. No,
Oh my God.
hey, do you want to talk about like how we met and just kind of go from there? Because I don't think either of us know how we met really. We just know I guess the trajectory, the development of our relationship.
Well, first of all, okay, how we met is when two people really love each other. Uh,
This whole episode is just gonna if you're still here, this whole episode is just gonna be a derailment the entire
and if sexual innuendos bother you and you're of the older generation, you need to stop listening now.
for any church that's wanting to hire me as their pastor, this is gonna be disqualified.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, well,
Oh, that's funny.
or for any old ladies that are upset because Daniel likes to crack open a beer. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I don't mind talking about that. I'll go off on that. Goodness
Oh,
gracious.
geez.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, how we met is I don't think I met you until like seventh grade because I didn't start coming back to school until sixth grade. And for the first year that I was in back in school, I was in a special ed program, which I would like to know what is so special about ed. I've always wanted to like who is special ed? Like because special ed, your program sucks. Okay? I just
Well, to be fair, like what we had was not an actual special ed program. Number one, you should not have been in special ed. Special ed is for the what's the right terminology here? The
I
mentally
think it
handicapped,
yeah, yeah. I think it's more geared towards those who are severely mentally challenged
mentally
and
challenged. There we go. Mentally challenged, mentally handicapped. And that's just the way
those
that
who have
God made
learning
them.
disabilities too.
Learning. There you go. So the thing with you is there was none of that. You're just in a wheelchair,
Yeah, what I like to say is physically disabled but mentally enabled. That's what I say.
which is so dumb looking back on it now. And we don't have to go on this tangent, but the fact that you were in that class always really bothered me because I'm like, why the heck is he in that? Like, poor him have to be in there, because mentally challenged they're mentally challenged and they struggle communicating, they struggle, and so I actually have a question for you, not to turn this around and not to get
No, you're
deep real
good.
quick, but how did you feel being in a class with people, of that caliber? I don't know if caliber is the right, but of that, with that disability, how did you feel sitting in that type of class?
Well, for the first year, the first day was a half day. And for the first year, I think I was okay because we had a they had a great man that was actually supposed to be in charge of that program,
Yeah.
John Wilson.
John Wilson, yeah, he was really good with people like that.
And he was just fantastic.
He was a good guy, yeah.
But him and one of the other teachers who I will not mention had she thought it was her school, and he was like, "Look, I'm not here to play competition with you. Like, the pastor, because it was ran by, our church where we grew up,
Does her
the
name start with
pastor.
an E?
No, her name starts with a K.
Does her
Um,
last name start with an M?
no, her last name starts with an A.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Twin boys. Yes, you do. Anyway,
All right, we'll
so,
figure it out.
um, and it's what everybody calls people these days in society. A care. Okay. Uh,
Oh,
yeah. Um,
uh,
so
we'll figure it out.
yeah, him and her had a big, she thought she was large and in charge, and he was like, no, you're not. And, tried to do the good Christian thing. And,
So she ended up being in charge.
she ended up being in charge because he was like, bye.
Oh, yes, her. Yes. Oh
Sh-
man.
He ended up being in charge because he was like, bye, I'm not dealing with this.
I forgot her first name was Karen. I mean, no one's gonna know who we're talking about unless you knew this situation.
Yeah, well, I don't think she'll be friends with me on Facebook after this. But
Too bad we don't have
yeah.
an editor. Uh,
Well, no. I mean, I don't edit a lot of my podcast
but
out.
as a whole, though, like, did you ever feel like, why am I in this class with this magnitude of people? Not that you had anything against them, but just you weren't of that.
I didn't feel that way when John was there because
Right,
I think John's goal was to make that a special ed program where you actually got educated.
right.
But when he was pushed out by this lady, then it was, turned into a glorified babysitting service.
Yeah, I remember that.
We went on field trips all the time, one of the students that was in my class, their dad owned a chain of Papa John's restaurants in Northwest
Mm.
Indiana. So we went to their restaurant all the time and learned how to make pizzas, and we would go to the
He
zoo.
what? Yeah, he would have been in that class. This specific person, just for babysitting purposes,
Yeah,
right?
because yeah, I would say so because him and his sister, the students, uh, he had cerebral palsy, and
Oh, okay. No, you know what? I was thinking of yeah, yes, I forgot he was the owner. I was thinking of someone else. But that worked at Papa John's with this person. I know who you're talking about now.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So it actually, David, I can say first
Yeah,
names.
yeah. David, great guy.
Dave, David became like one of my best friends, and we were always hanging out together. But then as I
That
started,
kid, so
oh
funny.
my gosh,
We
he
got
just,
stories.
yes, him and Kim, his sister Kimberly,
Yeah.
Kimberly's blind, and she is the
Hmm.
sweetest.
So sweet.
You know what? I need to reach out to them. She is the sweetest person ever. And, they have that childlike faith,
Yeah, yeah, they do. So,
childlike.
so you didn't feel like that at first, but
I didn't
did,
feel like that for the first year, but then when John left, I was like, screw this place.
and it was more how they were treating you, like they treated you like that.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We
Well,
had a,
we don't have to get into
yeah.
all that, but
Oh yeah, we can.
I
We
mean,
had,
it's up to you. I don't want to bore your listeners with our.
but
Here's the thing: we trauma bond when we talk. You and I, we trauma bond, and we talk about our previous traumas, and
yeah,
we always get back to one situation.
when we get together, and I know for those of you that are like, what the hell is this episode about? Look, this is just everything in the kitchen sink, okay? Honestly. Um, I'm sure all of you have friends that are like, when you get together, you kind of have one big therapy session and you just talk about the past and it's not from a place of bitterness. It's just trying to figure out why, like what went wrong. Like, like, wow, those people were crazy. Um, I was on an event last night and somebody brought up MySpace. Uh, I was on an event last night for the project that I told you that I'm working
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
and somebody brought up MySpace.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh my God, that just brought back so much trauma." And I told them about how
Did you tell him the story?
yes, I told them
That's
about
funny.
how a bunch of people got kicked out of our Christian school because they were on MySpace and they were
Yep.
like, whoa, what were they doing? And I was just like,
What were they doing? Just having social media.
just,
Makes
having
it sound like they
fun.
were. It makes them sound like they were doing like you know r wrong things that you
Well,
couldn't
I
do on
remember,
online.
I remember like one of the things like, and the pastor that exposed the MySpace thing, like he had you remember the stack of papers he had?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
bro, like, don't you have
Here,
counseling to do? Like,
let's do this. I want to get to that story, and I also don't want to take over your podcast, but let's
no,
let's let,
yeah,
let's let's structure it. So we met. We would have had to have met. So we both went to the same college and school and everything in Northwest Indiana, right about 45 minutes outside of Chicago. We would have had to have like met along the way, whether in Sunday school. So we knew of each other, but we didn't get to know of each other probably till junior high, meet high school,
seventh grade, I
seventh
think is
grade.
when we met because that's when I started sitting with my other best friend, the original OG,
Josh.
Josh,
Yeah. We need to
and
get him on here. We should have did a three.
we totally should, but he won't do it.
Ah.
He never came on any of my videos or anything. Like,
All right,
but
editor, make this a little short or a little video to plead to Josh Moberly. Come on
oh
this
God, you just said
podcast
his name.
with us. Oh, am I not allowed to say it?
No, you're
Um,
good.
all right. To our friend Josh. Sorry, maybe editor bleep that out or something. Um, to come on and we can do a trio podcast. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you will, but Josh, you're my best friend. You know you are. We've done a lot together, and so you have to come on my
and
podcast.
the thing is Josh and I were really close friends, especially in that junior high, high school phase. Like we were very close friends.
Yeah,
And just when you
so
get adults, you just kind of grow apart, and there's nothing wrong about that. He lives somewhere else now. We just
yeah, North Carolina.
grew up.
Yeah, yeah.
He's in North
So,
Carolina, which is funny because I just lived there, and now I'm in Pennsylvania.
yeah, so we met, I think, officially in seventh grade.
Right.
Um, I don't know. Did we used to eat lunch together? Because it was a group of us. It was like Josh, it was
See, I
John.
don't think that started until like ninth grade. I really
So
don't think
then
that started till ninth grade.
maybe we didn't meet in seventh grade. Maybe it was like ninth grade or something.
And like,
Because
and we knew of each other, even if like we knew each other through like in junior high classes. Like I remember we just talked about this the other day. I remember you in science class sitting. You sat. Did you sit by the door? Right.
yeah, I sat over by the wall away from
Right.
everybody because nobody gave
Gotcha.
me a desk because there was nothing called inclusion when we were growing up.
Get them. Um.
Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
so I remember that, and I remember you being in classes, but my junior high years are very vague to me, but I think
so
it was until high school.
I think I was the only time I was ever a teacher's pet, which was in Jimmy's class, which is the science class you're referring to. Because Jimmy took care of me. Like I
Yeah.
mean, back then I was in a manual chair, and he would, was responsible for somebody to drive me down back to the romper room special
I
ed
for
class.
I forgot about that. The
I
the
see
manual chair.
Su I see Susie and I see Lynette. So, and the only reason I was really there, the only reason that I was really in special ed class was for personal care reasons.
Right.
That's the only reason why I was really supposed to be there. And then every year, like, I would phase myself out so I wouldn't have to be in there because it was so bad.
Which is
But the,
this is a cry to like all schools. Now, I think public schools actually do it right because they get funded by the government. See, we went to a private school, which was the issue. But even private schools, like if you have someone that's disabled, especially in a wheelchair, like, and that's all it is, it's a physical disability. They need to be in every single class. Also, they need to have their own personal care set. Like the school needs to help provide this, whether it's ramps, someone to help change, clean them, whatever needs to happen. But that's not an excuse to put them in a special ed class, which is not their disability. Granted, I used to help people in special ed, and I have a heart for them. I do. My daughter has mild autism, and so that mental disabilities is something that I definitely have a heart for. At the same time, if you are not mentally disabled, don't put someone in there. You're jeopardizing that person's education. And Nick, and you have gone to
yeah.
grants before.
Oh, totally. Totally. I mean, I didn't get an education. And you say, well, why didn't you get your GED? Well, because when I spoke to the people at the GED place, they said, well, because of your reading and your math comprehension, we don't know if, you would pass those, and it would be really difficult and blah, blah. And, that's just not a hill that I was willing to climb. And,
Yeah.
I'm being pretty successful. Granted, it's taken me longer, but I'm being pretty successful without an education. So, um, yeah. And then, skip to ninth grade, we started a singing group. And I'm just gonna say we because we always have an argument of who started it and why it was started and all this type of stuff.
Well, you were the one. This is my knowledge. You were the one that started it.
Oh, real? Oh, okay, good. So your memory is back in tow because you said for years that you were the one that started it. You just invited me to it. So
Hold on. Let me think.
no, we don't have time to think. So I started it, and so which Daniel is an incredible singer. One of these
Wasn't
days,
it wasn't it kind of started together? It was like an agreement. We're all like in all honesty, not because I don't care who started it, but wasn't it kind of, or was it your thought like your one day is just
I
like I want
don't
to start a singing
know
group?
because
I think it was
because
together. It was like a collaboration.
because we had forgive my voice, y'all. I'm getting over a sore throat. We
Puberty.
had we had somebody else who was a piano player, and I think we were just in a practice room just playing around. And
Yeah.
then
So to be fair, we could say that Nathaniel was a huge, or
yeah,
this we'll just use his first name. Nathaniel was a huge part of it. Um.
yeah, Kramer Flamer. That's what
Well,
we
he said it.
uh
Um.
so we and he's still one of my best friends too, by the way,
Oh
and
yeah.
we just don't talk as much. But
And to kind of to preface this, we went to a private school. We went to a Christian school. We went to what's called Independent Fundamental Baptist. They're the old school King James, like barn
oh
stomping,
God.
screaming in your face. The reason why I say all that is because the reason why you're like, oh, why'd you start a random singing group? Um, because it was known in the church that you have with these things called special music groups. You would sing in trios, quartets, solos, duets, whatever in
Quintet,
church.
big groups of
Right.
ladies, big
And
groups
you
of guys.
and you would have special music during the chapel service or the preaching service that you guys would sing before the service. You would sing a song, and so we got this group together for these purposes to sing in church, to sing in school.
Well, not originally, not church originally.
School. It was
It was
specifically
originally,
school.
I think it started back at an event called school camp. And then I came in and I was like, we should do this. And I don't know. But anyway,
Okay.
we started a kind of a lame singing group. And Daniel is actually a really good singer. He's been involved with Southern gospel groups for years. And Daniel got chewed out by one of our teachers because he was trying to be too showy in one of the songs.
So let's talk about this. Let's set this up because we actually said we always wanted to talk about this. Um,
Yes.
so we developed this singing group. Nick's in it. Our friend Josh, who we mentioned, is in it. Myself, our friend Nathaniel, and I think we had one more guy in it, right?
We didn't have one more guy in there later. It was just you, me, Josh, and
I thought David sang the first one,
yeah, that was when we started to get noticed and stuff like for church.
but that was I Stand Redeemed.
No, I Stand Redeem was just us, was just me, you, and Josh and
Nathaniel?
Nathaniel. I
I'm almost positive David was in there. Are you sure? I've got the video somewhere.
I think it was just us, but anyway, we're not going to argue about it.
No. I actually do think David was in there. I have the video, and I'm gonna find it sometime. I'm not gonna be able to get it in time for us to show it in simultaneous with your podcast, but maybe I'll find it. And you know what we should do? We should do another podcast together where I bring the video up and we watch it together. How like
Oh
because I
God.
have Nick, I have that video. So we sing this song called "I Stand Redeemed," which is like a big song in like the Southern gospel world, the Independent Baptist world, and well, I was a huge show off back then. Well, I tried to be. I wasn't good at it, but
No, but you were really good though. That's the thing. I mean,
not when we go back and listen to the video, you're gonna be like, "Oh man, you sucked."
no, but like I think cause your brother did. Your brother also sang as well. And the first time I found you guys, I think was when he did Then Came the Morning with the high school choir and he did the solo. And I
Wow.
was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, he's amazing. And even my dad, who I don't agree with anything on, was like, oh my God, that guy was great. Um,
Well, I was so jealous of David because he had the golden voice. Um,
yeah.
which is David's my brother. Which is ironic because I'm the one that ended up going into like gospel music and all that stuff, and he just went to college. But um, so he was the one that was always doing the solos and stuff. But I think that's why when we got up in front of who we got up when we got in front of our peers and we sang this song "I Stand Redeemed," that I tried to be showy with my voice. And what I mean by that is like doing your vocal riffs, your vocal runs, like all that stuff.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah.
like in this specific Christian environment, that is not allowed. You can't move your voice. You can't move your hands. You're just supposed to stand there and sing. We don't use drum sets, electric guitars,
Oh God,
just
no.
piano. And
You'd go
so,
straight to hell for that.
right.
And
So,
all of your music had to be approved
yes,
by
yes.
either Deb, which Deb was really cool. Deb
Yeah,
was, I have to say, back when we were together, and that's when our music at our church really took off
yeah,
because the pastor we had at the time was into Southern gospel and
oh, yeah,
really wanted to spruce up the music program, and he did. And unfortunately, he got in trouble, and
right. Rest is
that,
history.
that's a whole nother, yeah,
That's a whole other podcast.
that's a
Um,
whole nother podcast. Yeah. So, but our music had to be approved and all that stuff. And the lady that we worked with, Deb, she was great. She's still great. She's still there
Yeah.
today at the church. Um, but
And well, see, the thing was, is if you had, sorry, I'm just carrying a little kid lid. I've got three kids, and there's always stuff around. So if you see this randomly, it's my ADD.
no, you're cool.
Um, so the thing was, I don't like when you would go to the college later on. All your music had to be approved. And what I mean by approved, like you had to sing it in front of Anthony Collins. Like he had to
Oh my
prove it. He had
gosh.
to tell you, like, oh,
Yes.
don't
Oh,
move your voice, don't do anything like that. But in high school, if you told Deb the song you were singing, like she didn't have to hear it. We have to sing it in front of her?
yeah, we did.
Oh,
We
we
had to
did.
sing it
Okay.
in front of her.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
guess you did. All right. So I backtracked that then. Okay, so
Yeah,
it did
we
have
had
to
to
be
sing it in
approved
front,
too.
which wasn't okay. I mean, which was okay.
Yeah.
Um, I think our song, we almost didn't get to sing the song I Stand Redeemed because at that time it had been sung so much. She was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And so we sang it in chapel. And I
Well,
don't
real
know.
quick, the like before we get to the chapel part,
Oh
we
gosh.
we were practicing. And I think you've told this story. We've told this story before. I can't remember where we told this story, but we have told this story. We were practicing in a room. Here, you tell the story because you're good at it.
We were practicing during lunch.
Because that
And
was our practice time.
yes, so we would literally bring our lunch into a classroom that had a piano and we would practice, which our group is the reason that all this had to stop. Um, because some members of our group would leave food everywhere, blah, 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 blah. I don't know who did, but
That was not
whatever.
me,
So, uh,
Nathaniel.
Daniel, Daniel, Daniel he was in charge of, or no, he did a lot of our solos and stuff. And
Sorry.
so he like overdid one of the solos and held one of the notes way too long to the point of where he was screeching. I mean, it sounded really good, but it made one of our prim and proper teachers, who we'll call Mrs. Imsky for short, come down and like literally just preach a 5-minute sermon to Daniel about how his job singing a song is to minister to the people and not to scream a song. I'm just sitting there dying laughing because I'm like, oh my God, you just got yelled at.
Oh man.
And so, yeah. And so then the school came up with this rule and they put the government behind it, that the government said that we had to eat so long in the cafeteria and we had to make sure we had lunch, which
The
I don't
govern
know.
like the school like government
No, the
classes or
no, the
oh
government.
the actual government. Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah,
so like they like our
I
church
forgot
ever
about that.
wanted our church ever really wanted to listen to the government. Okay. Like back then our church crapped on the government all the time.
Well, they wanted the freebies for the food.
They wanted the freebies for the food, which back then in 2000 something or another,
Eight,
um,
eight
it,
going into nine, or not? Sorry, not eight. Five. Sorry,
five, well, back,
2005 going into
well,
2006.
going into 2006, that's when they started doing the whole government thing. And
Right,
then
right.
in 2008, when the Obamas took over, it was Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get
There's a whole
everybody
thing. Yeah,
help,
that's right. 2008. Yep.
get everybody healthy lunches and all this type of stuff.
Well, the
And
thing was, not to get on that tangent, but the
no,
school actually had really good food.
before Michelle Obama took over and
And
ruined
then when she
everything.
came in and they decided to get on that program because all they were giving, Michelle just wanted to give everybody carrot sticks. So that's literally what happened. We had a
Yeah,
great, dude, we had such good cooks. That was the one thing at our private school. We had really good hot lunches.
we did. I mean, the pizza puffs, the taco supremes.
Cheese fries.
Not just cheese fries,
Man.
Cajun cheese fries, bro.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
man.
mean, and then
Now I'm
you
hungry.
could order an entire pizza for your table. Like that was the whole big thing. We had a whole salad bar. I mean, the salad bar was like decked out and
And
everything.
luckily, it was all we pretty much all of our high school got the good food. It was more like us going out of high school that they started to implement that because
Yeah,
yeah, our class was in 2009, and that I think that beginning of that year is when it was implemented. That
the senior year of our school, that's when everything went away. That's when all the good food went away, and it was like, ugh.
but it was like the last semester because he didn't even get inaugurated until or was it that
January
year that he
January 2008.
2008. Okay, so yeah, they would have. Yeah, that was the
So
implementation.
our last year of high school, our food, I mean, it was still good, but our food started to slip.
Yeah.
We started to, they took out all the chip machines. They
Well,
took
that
out,
was the year. That was also the year the KJV thing happened, the inspiration, and like the whole system of the IFB under First Baptist Church of Hammond, like started to diminish. And so not only did you have this government side at the schools, you had this side, and just everything like people started leaving and whatnot. And so there was a lot of things. That's again,
well,
that's another episode.
in 2008 too, you had the Great Recession.
Yeah,
And
yes. There was just so
so,
much going on in that year.
like, that's why, when they talk about, oh, have faith in God, and yeah, really, it's AKA have faith in the government, and hopefully they give you money.
Ooh.
Uh,
But yeah, so
but
we would practice every day, and we would go to this specific class. Whose classroom was that, by the way? Was that Mrs. Gross?
I think it was Jennifer Gross's classroom. Yeah,
Yeah, Jennifer Gross. Which she
we
was
are
super
dropping
nice.
names again. We did this last time.
Sorry. Well, here's the thing. Like, especially if we're talking nice about them, I think we're fine. Um,
Well, and nobody's there anymore anyway. So I mean,
I know none of our teachers are there. They all left. They all said,
so
"I'm out." Uh, so we used to okay. So to get where we're trying to go, we used to practice every day, and I did this thing on I Stand Redeemed just for fun. And mind you, I had a little baby like girl voice in ninth grade. My voice hadn't dropped yet, and so I could sing insanely high, and I could still sing high for a man now. Like I'm a first tenor, male singer, but back then I could sing higher than most girls. And so there was a part in I Stand Redeemed on the second verse where the guy goes up, a broken life is all I have to offer, and then he gets to the end, and at the very end, I can come before him unashamed. Well, on unashamed, I was just supposed to go, I can come before him unashamed. But I went, unashamed, or like something. Like I
you
stayed up
held it.
there.
You went off. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
was.
like and I was just messing around and dude I probably shouldn't have and I was really loud too because if I had to go really high it would be really loud because I'm belting. And
Yeah,
she
you were
just comes
belting.
in
I
there.
mean, she came down the hallway and she was like, "Oh my God."
So she lays into me. And so we're already going in to this performance or this special music. We're already going in like knowing that there could be some feedback. Well, me knowing this, and so all the guys are like, "Hey, don't show off too much," blah blah blah. And I knew like, this is my moment. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna get
You
up
did,
there and
and
I'm
you
gonna
did
be
the
like,
exact same thing she told you not to
well,
do.
because
Performance.
here's the thing. I think every time after practice, like during practice, I think I straightened it out so that even you guys didn't know this is how I was gonna do it. And then when we went up the even I think even in mic check, I was probably pretty straight for it. Um,
Yeah, my check you were because I made
so
sure because I ran my check. I was like, Daniel, do
so we
not.
and this is during wasn't it it was during some week for something. I don't know if it was Spirit Week, but it was during something. Um and mind you, for before we get to the actual performance side of it, we're thinking, how are we going to sing? This is when we put you on the platform, wasn't it?
Oh God,
So there's a whole thing here. So Nick's in a wheelchair, a huge like
power chair.
battery powered battery powered chair. And so if I powdered,
That's power.
Nick is
Okay,
getting his face
my
powdered. Um,
here's the thing. My producer's gonna go crazy and be like, "You guys need to stop talking so much because it's going." Anyway, anyway.
Sorry. Um. So okay. So Nick's in this power chair, and like, there's one of the teachers. He was like, always he was a determined man. Like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna yeah. I think this will be fine. Who am I? I'm Adam Rahowski. So he's very like determined to do whatever. Like, you can't tell this guy no. So he's like, yeah, we could put Nick up. And we're like, yeah, I think it'll be fine. So we get a bunch of guys during Grant, like, mind you, during the chapel service. It wasn't just like we put Nick up there and he just sat in the corner, which we should have done if we were even gonna do it. We like did this during, like, while we're supposed to walk up to the platform. So mind you, the chair alone is very, 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 very,
Like
very heavy.
300 pounds.
Yeah, if it was just Nick, it would have been no problem. Like, I probably could have picked up Nick myself and brought him.
Yeah, because
But
back
like,
then I was like 205. I was a skinny. I was a skinny back then.
well, you look great, Nick. So like it would have been if it was just him in a normal, like a standard wheelchair, it would have been fine. But he's got a power chair. Adam Rahowski's like, yeah, we'll just get like four guys, dude. They barely got you on stage.
Yeah, and I think it was more like six. I think six
It
guys.
was, it was, yeah, you're right. It was like six
Yeah,
guys. And these are like high school, like the guys that we got. Granted, I know they're high school guys, but at the same time, like, they could lift a lot. Like, these guys, these kids were the kids that were like lifting. And we're talking about, what'd you say? So we're talking about like 500 pounds getting on the
yeah,
stage, 300 with the chair, 200 with Nick, and six high school kids trying. So they barely get him up there. Nick's like, afraid for his life.
yeah.
Poor
I am
guy.
like shaking the whole entire time. And plus, this is my first performance in public,
Oh
and
yeah.
they give me a microphone. And this day I had like bronchitis, so I was like literally coughing in between verses.
Yeah. You know what? Now that
And
I
I
think about
was
it,
in the microphone. No, I was in the microphone. Yeah.
I actually don't. I mean, I'm not gonna get too far off, but like, I actually think that was for our very first performance. I don't think for I Stand Redeemed you sing up on the platform. I think that was for We Shall See Jesus. Um, because if I remember the
Yeah.
video, yeah, you were
Oh,
on the floor
yeah,
for I Stand
that's right.
Redeemed.
I was on the
Um,
floor for I Stand Redeemed.
yeah,
And
you were.
then they were like, I don't, Adam was like, I don't like Nick down there by himself. I was like, dude, I'm fine. Just have him walk down a couple steps, like give him a couple chords.
I
That's my,
thought, I
and
thought,
he was like, no, I want you on the stage. And I was like, okay.
no, I thought. So was it I Stand Redeemed? Was that our first song?
Yes, it was our
Okay,
first time. So,
so after you sang. So after we sang that first time, then we sang "We Shall See Jesus," and he wanted to put you on the stage for that one.
right.
Okay.
Because
So
my
Adam
first
ran the
one,
sound, just so
yeah,
people know
Adam
for
ran the
context.
sound. And for my first one, I still had a microphone and I was literally because, and Dave Lutz, who's another great person who was
Yeah.
there, he like came and gave me a big hug afterwards. He's like, dude, you're awesome. And I was like, no, I suck.
Well,
Um,
okay. So we're on the first, but that did happen with Nick and getting him on the stage and getting him off. I wasn't. It was scarier getting you off, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I think getting you up there
Uh,
wasn't as bad, but I remember getting you off. Everybody was like, you know, just
yeah, and everybody was just like, "Oh," and I think Eddie Lapina was preaching that day.
yes,
And because
that's
he's the one, yes, it
yes,
was We Shall See Jesus, because
because that's
he's
how
the
that
one
happened. That's how that
that
happened. Yeah,
said, "Oh, I want them to sing in church." And
yep,
I was like, "Holy crap."
yeah.
And um and so because I think somehow Jaime Garcia got in the group too. That day that he was filling in for somebody that wasn't there or something. And
No,
you're staring at me like, what the hell are you talking about? I know it's probably not true, but
I
uh,
don't think. No, I think maybe he practiced with us just to fill in a spot. He never sang with us. I know that.
well,
Um,
I don't think he sang with us the night that we sang in church. Everybody's probably like, where is this podcast episode going? Like I said,
we don't even know.
we're just talking. So
Which I
this
think I think you'll see. Like, if you want to get something out of this podcast, I think you'll see like friendship can last forever if you make it work.
forever.
You can make it work, and I hope you just enjoy this banter. Like if you know, okay, let's take it home with this, and then we'll go on to the church side of it, to singing in church. But we do that first performance. So you actually are on the ground for the first
On
performance.
the ground, yes.
We're singing, and I get to my second verse of even at my best I am unworthy. And so I start like trying to act like I can sing. And I start singing, and then I get to that a broken life is all I have to offer. And then I do all that stuff, and then I get to the end, and I do that. So anyway, and all the girls, in our school, like if someone did something fancy on stage, like all the girls would go, "Ah!" So they do that, blah blah blah. It was very much like a showy performance. It was obvious it was showy on my end. The
Yeah.
guys the guys did fine. The guys were the best part about it. I was an idiot. So we get done, and again, you're not supposed to show out your voice, like do vocal riffs, all that stuff in this type of environment back then. Um, so we get to our what was that class?
It was a ninth grade Bible class that
And
had
it was normally
multiple
with Brian Hassey, but Don Boyd was
who
teaching it that
I
day.
we have to say this. We have to say this. Don Boyd
Yes,
was one of the best.
yes, he was great.
I mean, say, you were in a call, everybody was horrible. Don Boyd was one of the best things to come out of that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he was everybody loved him. And I think that if he would have been still around, the pastor that we had might not have done what he did. But because he wasn't around, just like, hey Jack, stop being a jackass. And
Oh, and he would say like Don Boyd. He did not care. He was one of the good ones. Yeah, I miss that guy. He was a good guy. So Nick,
Don
you tell the
Boyd
story.
was incredible. Yes.
You tell the
So,
story. So we go to Bible class, and Don's substituting for Brian that day.
well, because Don did Mondays,
Oh, he
and then
did Mondays. That's right. He wouldn't substitute. He
Brian
was
did Tuesday through Friday.
right. That's right.
So Don, I don't know, somehow went off on some tangent about our singing. And he was like, Daniel, you do it for show. You don't do it for God. And
Mind you, okay, we're in class, so there's like, and this is our entire ninth grade. So you're talking about
yes,
like 60 to 70 kids.
60 to 70 kids. And so he's going off and saying, Daniel, you don't do it for show. You do it for God.
And I'm in
And
the
then,
worst. I am in the worst like position in this class. I'm in the dead middle, down center, in like towards the back, where he can
yep.
just look at me and just go whoppa.
And he points right at you too.
Oh yeah, yes, straight up.
And I'm like, and then he started one of the girls, one of the girls in our class, and she's totally went off the rails now. So, but one of the girls in our class had a laugh like a donkey, like literally. And
Was
so,
what is her first initial? Try to see if I remember.
SM. Sharon.
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because of my podcast. So Sharon Maxwell had a laugh like a donkey. She did. And Don Boyd was like, "Who's laughing like a jackass back there?" Like he did he
That's so
did
wrong in so many
he
ways.
did
I
not
just got done
care.
talking about how I love this guy. He's just
No,
berating
no,
someone.
but Don Boyd was one of those people, though. He's one of those old school people
Yeah,
that
he was a
did
straight
not
shooter.
mess around. But he loved everybody, loved all the students, loved me. I mean,
Yeah.
I came into his office one day. I remember I was sobbing over
Hmm.
something that one of the kids said to me or did to me, and I came into his office and he just loved on me.
Hmm.
Like, Nick, it'll be okay. Some people are just, there's always going to be jackasses. Like, that's what he said to me. He was
He was
like,
a genuine guy, and he was a
he
straight
was a
shooter.
genuine Christian. And like,
Yeah.
literally the home that he came out of, people made fun of him because he talked about the home he came out of. My parents were drunkards. And oh, by the way, I'm using his voice because everybody imitated his voice, and I became
Yes.
one of the best imitators in my class
And I
of,
said, "Let her go."
oh God.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do want to say this. You mentioned Sharon. Sharon is a and we're at no point making fun of her the person. But she is a genuine soul. She is the
She
kindest
is a
person.
genuine soul
Um,
and she is really kind. But back then, everybody just picked out kids and made fun of them. I mean, me too.
which
And
is
it was,
unfortunate.
it
Looking
was,
back,
it wasn't, but see, we didn't have social media back then though.
right. Yeah, it didn't
So,
exist.
like, our like the internet didn't exist until like 2000, and back then you didn't have all these things. You didn't have
Yeah,
Facebook. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have TikTok.
right.
You didn't have any of that. So our made fun of basically happened. You know, we would make fun of something, the way somebody said something, or
Right.
the way somebody dressed, or it wasn't like
We
genuine.
weren't we weren't purpose well, like people like you and I weren't.
It
Um,
wasn't it wasn't like genuine hate, like we're gonna come to school and shoot everybody the next day. It wasn't that at all. It was just
sorry, editor.
no. But you understand though, it wasn't
Yes,
like
yes.
you made fun of me. Like our school, like when we were in school, we never had a school shooting. And to this day, like
Yeah.
our school, praise be to God, we've never had a school shooting. But back then it was, you know, I mean, bullies came to school and you dealt with it in the locker room, or
Yeah, you dealt with it face on, and again, we were a product of we were '90s kids, meaning we were born in the '90s. You were '89, right, Nick?
no, 90.
You were '90. I was '91. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were not '90s kids in the sense of like we were growing up in the '90s. We were little in the '90s, but because of that, we still were a part of the generation before what it is now. Like we grew up seeing social media, get big,
We
going into
started social
college.
media.
Yeah, yeah, that was our age. Yeah,
I mean, Google
going into
started.
like college, coming out of high school, 2008, 2009 is when Facebook started ramping up.
Yeah.
And that's when it started getting big. But anyway, so yeah, there was that story with Don Boyd and him saying that, and I just remember sitting there when he was saying this stuff like, "You do it for show," and he was looking right at me, and everybody was like, And I'm just thinking, like, I thought we had a good performance.
And I'm like, thanks, Daniel. I think you need to be kicked out of our group now. Thanks.
Yeah, and Nick was really passionate, and this is no, here's the thing. We're like 14, 15-year olds, okay?
Yeah.
Uh, actually at the time like 13 and 14-year olds. Like, and Nick was really passionate about this. And so when we got flack for that, I think you took it personally and everybody took it personally because like you guys wanted to obey the rules how we grew up, and that's understandable. You know, it's just all we knew. So
Yeah.
it's to no one's fault. But I listened to Southern Gospel, and that was how they sang. So I wanted to be like them, and I was going to do
Yeah.
whatever with my voice.
And when we were growing up, Southern Gospel was from the pit of hell. And
Which is so funny because it's so stinking conservative.
Southern Gospel was from the pit of hell. And we had another lady at our church who was still there and still doing her stuff. Elaine Colson.
Oh, Elaine, yeah, yeah, yeah. Which
You
she's
had,
she's a great lady. She's just one
she's
of
a
those like
sweetheart.
stubborn. She's one of those stubborn grandmas that like she's stuck by the old time way. Like if you're independent fundamental Baptist, you don't do anything but piano and violin and orchestra music. You don't have a drum set. So, and the way you sing is Jesus loves me, this I know. You don't go,
Very straight.
Jesus loves me. You don't sing like that.
Yeah.
If you did, you get kicked off the platform.
Yep. You didn't sing like that. You didn't move your voice. You didn't do anything. So
So you
it,
guys were trying to follow the rules after that, and then I think after that it was like I think both you and Nathaniel talked like, "Hey, we can't sing like that anymore." You know what I mean? Especially when I still tried to push the envelope as much as I could.
yes, yes, you did.
And then we started learning a song called "We Shall See Jesus."
Yes, because we picked that song actually, I
We
think.
did. We did.
And then and then we decided we were gonna sing it. And and then that was the time that they were like, oh, let's put Nick on the platform
Yes.
and almost have him shit his pants. Uh, um,
Poor guy.
so they put me on the platform for that chapel service, and Eddie Lupino was preaching that day, and we were always taught when a preacher came up to the platform, stand, give him a standing ovation, blah blah. I thought they were giving me a standing ovation because I had came off the platform and I had made it to the ground safely. So everybody was cheering for me. Woohoo! No, they were cheering for Eddie, which, I mean, why? He's so plain. So,
Which that's a whole nother topic. Like looking back when we used to give a standing ovation for like the incoming preacher. You know how like
but a
idolatry.
lot of churches still do that though.
I know, but it's so
I was
wrong.
I was just I was just at a church the other day, and the way they introduced the pastor was give honor, let's give honor to the angel of this house. And I'm like, he's a man just like me. He ain't no angel. Like what?
That's crazy. Wow.
Like
Yeah, man. The way
like
we
but see
exalt
that
men is crazy.
that's how they do it at my church too, where I go
Yeah.
now. Let's give honor to the angel of this house and the first family. And I'm like,
It's a man.
I get respecting the office. I get that. But when we start saying, that men of God are the voice of God, no, they're not.
No, because
Um,
what's a pastor supposed to be, Nick? Not that we need to get off on this tangent, but what's a pastor supposed to be?
a pastor is
But a
supposed
what?
to smell like sheep.
Yes, he's supposed to be a servant.
Yeah.
And that's not being a you're supposed to have humility, and I'm not dogging on people that do this, but it does speak volumes when you treat a pastor like a celebrity. Well, you're wondering why this guy failed and had a moral failure or whatever because you lifted him up. Now granted, this is this
So
guy's fault,
high
it's
and
his
he fell
decision,
so hard. Yep.
but you inflated his ego. You know, you added to it. You didn't help. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
almost an accomplished. Like it's almost like the criminal did something, and you sat in the car and watched him do it. You know what I mean? It's like that. So anyway,
So
so we're learning. We learn this song. We get up in
yeah,
chapel. We sing it for in front of this guy, and he likes it. So he comes to me because he's like my father figure in my life, and he's like, "Hey, like, do you guys want to sing this with the teen choir?" And that was a big thing in our church. And I had
yeah.
always wanted to sing with the teen choir because my brother did. And again, I was really jealous of my brother. And I was like, this is my moment. Uh, and so
Yeah.
he asked us, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So we taught by rote, we taught the choir this song. Like there was there sheet music? Did they end up getting sheet music? I don't think there was there?
I think I think Adri Ledwick did the arrangement for us. Um,
Just that course because we did everything and then the very very
right.
end. Yeah.
Which that was a cool thing too, because our teen choir was so awesome. Our particular class was so awesome. We had a lot of singers in it. I think we had the best music hands down. And then once we left, it was
Oh yeah. Yeah.
bye. And I'm not saying that to be prejudiced. It's just it was true. We had the best. The junior high had the best orchestra. And then we moved to high school and we made the high school orchestra good. And then we had all of all of our singers. We had all the major singers.
I would say it still did really well till like 2013, 2014. The reason why I say that is because there was a lot of us that would help the junior high and high school like go back to things and still do it. And then you had the like Mindy Wolf. Well, I guess that would have been till like 2011, 2012.
Mindy, yeah,
Like
we had
like
Christy in our group too. Well,
yeah,
that,
you had that younger section that they still did the music really good after we left. So there were definitely some aspects, but yeah, for sure, our age group had the best music in the church. So we get asked to sing in church, and we do it. Well, the thing is, last minute, was he sick? Did he have mono?
no, okay.
What
So
happened?
he is
Did he
still,
have mono?
he is still, no, he did, but that's not why he couldn't sing with us.
Okay.
On the day that we were supposed to sing the song, we did all the and I started to say this and then we went off. We did all the rehearsals, which the rehearsals were great because the group that we were the group that we got to come down from the choir and we got to lead the choir and the song and do the arrangement the way we wanted. And it was just so great because all the
Yeah.
attention was on us and it was awesome, and we're kids in high school and we
We're
love it.
kids. We love it. Yeah.
So the week that we were actually supposed to sing the song, like back then, and we'll have to wrap up with this story, but back
Yeah.
then, there was a sniper going down one of the major highways in Hammond, Indiana, shooting people. And so our main one of our main singers' dads, he said, I'm taking you guys and we're leaving for a while because the sniper's right by our house.
I don't
And
remember that being the reason. That's crazy.
yes, no, that is the reason. And you bring it
Wow.
up to him to this day, he's still bitter over it. Still mad 15 years later over it.
He could have stayed in my house.
And he was like, no, because if we get shot, blah, blah, blah. Because there was a literal sniper on, I think he lived on Klein Avenue. There was a little sniper on Klein
Yeah.
Avenue
Yeah.
in Hammond
I still think
going,
now I remember.
going out and just shooting people on the highway. And so this guy's dad was like, you're not going to be singing. I'm taking you guys to Michigan until they catch the sniper.
So it was that week, wasn't it? Like
Yeah, it,
how many days before did we find out? Do you remember?
like it was like days before we were supposed to sing in church. And so your brother,
Luckily, we knew
this is the whole
someone.
thing. Eddie
Yeah.
wanted to mess up our song because then because at one of the last rehearsals, he wanted to add guys from his ensemble, like John Borg and all these other people. And we're like, what? And then
Did he?
yeah. He had to add your brother because
Well,
if
I
he
actually added David.
well, and we had to
Right.
because Daniel couldn't sing with us.
Right,
So,
and a little context, and I know we gotta go, but like a little context behind that was that my brother, like hearing and singing a harmony part is very hard, and there were very few guys that we trusted to do it so last minute. And my brother knew that song back and forth just because that was a big Southern gospel song. We listened to it, and he was
right.
someone that I knew I could be like, "Hey, Dave, you can do this part. Can you come sing with us?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Tell me about the whole like him trying to add John Borg. Like I very
So
vaguely remember.
he tried to add like several of his ensemble members because growing up in the big church that we did, we had several
Right,
ensembles that
right,
people could try out for, like
right,
the junior high ensemble, the high school ensemble, all this stuff.
right. There were other kids that could sing. Yeah,
And so one of the nights in the choir, at the end of choir, he asked us to stay and he wanted us to practice with his ensemble guys. And we were kind of like, you're literally going to try to steal this away from us after you gave it to us. And
yeah,
now you want your ensemble to be a part of it, which my brother, which one of my brothers was in Eddie's ensemble.
yeah.
So it was like, really? Which only a few, I think David ended up being added and then he changed it at the last minute and decided not to have his ensemble sing with us. Just in,
I think I remember that. Was it the
just in the
whole
choir.
ensemble? Was it the whole ensemble or just a couple guys?
Just like the guys, I think he wanted to.
Yeah, I
I
think he
don't know
was
what it
trying to
was.
see, and they couldn't. Here's the thing: the guys that he had in his ensemble weren't that great. They were just good at hearing and listening to like the notes, so they weren't that great at doing it such last minute. So that was probably one of the reasons
I
why.
was, if somebody sang a part to
Yeah, but
me,
you weren't in his ensemble. Like we knew,
no,
but they weren't.
I was never in an ensemble because I don't know, they thought
Which
I
that's a whole other, yeah.
uh,
But
anyway.
so in the end, we get to the point, and
Where we sing in church, and I gotta say this part. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I gotta
go.
say
No,
this
no,
part.
no, no. You go for it.
So, like the Wednesday night that we sing, okay? So the choir rehearsal room is behind on the platform.
Right.
And so I wasn't at the very last practice before we sang. I was out on the platform. They decided to have me on the platform until we sing, and then I was gonna go down because
Right.
we had a ramp at
Right.
our church. Finally, they weren't lifting me up and almost killing me. uh, and so I'm sitting out there, and they're rehearsing one last time, and Josh comes to me, my best friend, and he's like, change of plans. Okay. So the choir is going to sing the opening line and then we're going to do our solos. And I'm like, what?
So that was I forgot about that. So while we were singing, this lady that we talked about, Elaine Colston, had to refine everything. Like they, I can't remember what the reason was, but they changed everything in the music program. The guy that was in charge, Mario Cuoto, and the lady that was in charge, Elaine Colston, everything they were singing at the time, for some reason, had to have a tag before you went into the actual song. So all the choir songs and
Yep.
everything that they were like, it was more the choir songs. So since we had a choir with us, they wanted the choir to sing, and a tag means like the last phrase of of the chorus, and then you go into the verse. So I don't know if it's because they wanted the choir to start off. I think it is because we started off. Didn't we start off the service?
Yeah, it was
Yes, that's what it was.
we were the opening
The
song.
opening song. And so
But
there was a thing with their opening songs that the choir had to start the song even if it was a solo. They always wanted to start, that's what it was. They always wanted to start off the service with the full choir. So how do we start it off? So it wasn't necessarily the tag thing, so I kind of backtrack. It was that the choir had to always start the service. So since we were the choir, the teen choir behind us, they wanted us. So literally last minute, they just were like, okay, all the choir, we're gonna sing, "We shall see Jesus just as He is."
yep. And then we started the solos.
So Josh comes to you. I forgot about that, Nick. So Josh comes
Josh
to you
came
and
to me
tells you
and he
this.
was like, okay, so change the plan because we were supposed to sing the first line.
Right, right. Go right into it.
And then we were going to go into our solos, and then the choir was going to do the big finish.
So was
So,
that your first time hearing it then at the actual performance?
yeah, because we didn't even practice that way. We didn't even practice that way. And so they go out and they practice it one more time in the choir rehearsal room. And then Josh comes out to me and was like, change the plans. Nick, do not sing the opening line. Just, just, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then it was just crazy. But before this turns into a Joe Rogan podcast, uh, which it probably already has, which we kind of started late anyway, so it's okay.
Sorry.
Um, no, but I just have to say this has been so much fun, and
Yeah.
you guys are probably gonna get dizzy if you watch this online and you see some of us talking and then the camera goes back and forth. But
Sorry.
I wanna do no, you're good. We're good. So I want to do some closing notes. So if you've enjoyed this podcast, this mess of a podcast today, uh, send me a note at nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com. And just let me know if you want to be a guest on my podcast. Send me a note at the same email. And we are also going to put Daniel's podcast in the show notes because he's got a really great podcast. Say what the name of your podcast is, real quick.
Back to the Fundamentals podcast. This is a Christian podcast where we talk about biblical things. So if that's not up your alley, then I won't worry about it. But if you want to talk about going back to the fundamentals of Scripture and what Scripture is all about, and you like you know, call it religious podcast, call it Christian podcast. Back to the Fundamentals podcast is where you can listen to us.
Yeah, well, sometime in the near future, I'm going to be
Yes,
on
we're
the
gonna
show.
we're gonna have Nick on. It's been crazy. We're on a topic right now, so we're trying to figure it out. But we're gonna get Nick. Hey, Nick, real quick before you close out, I just want to say this. Do you remember also on that song on that topic? We added. Speaking of adding things, we added my brother singing with you. I think it was because you were really nervous, but we added my brother singing the verse with you because originally you sang it by
Yeah.
yourself.
No, I think it was okay. What it was, I'm sorry, we're going all over the place, guys.
I'm sorry,
Um,
that's my fault.
no, you're good. So what it was I started singing a solo, and then they came in and they harmonized with me or
Yes,
something, so
yes,
that I wouldn't be singing it all by myself
right.
because I didn't want my voice to crack or do something weird. I mean, I was literally, when you people stand up, you can lock your knees and not have it show that you're shaking. I'm sitting down all the time. So
Yeah.
I was like literally shaking the whole entire time.
Yeah, see, it was because you were nervous. We actually didn't do harmony with you. It was just my brother. So we added my brother singing that part with you. I actually
Well,
have. So what stinks is because I recorded it. Well, I didn't record it. I had someone record it. And back then we still had tapes. So they would run out of tape. So you had to bring a new tape. Well, I didn't realize it was at the end of the roll of tape. So I get the entire part of this the first part of the song where the choir sings, David Wolf sings his first verse, and then we get to your second verse with my brother David, and we got all of that. Or actually, David Wolf sings the first half. You and David sing the second half, and then we get to Josh's part, and it cuts in the middle of Josh's part. And I was like, dang it, I wish I had that. I have that part, but I don't have the rest of the stuff.
So anyway, back to my closing. We're starting to
Sorry,
act like
sorry.
Baptist preachers where we do like three closings and we're
Yes,
here an hour
and I
later.
hasten.
Um, so if you want to be on my podcast, if you're still here after this marathon episode, um, please email me at nickspeaksofficial.com. Check out Daniel's podcast, Back to the Fundamentals, which I'm going to come ruin the whole thing. And
No, it'll be good. I think we're going to talk about Nick's life and growing up in the type of Christian environment that we did, and I think it'll be really insightful.
yeah, so that's going to be really fun whenever they decide to let me on a year later. So so check me out on all social media platforms. Check Daniel's podcast out. And we really hope that you enjoyed this episode today. Um, have a good Christmas. Uh, if you've already had Christmas, we hope you've had a Merry Christmas. Because we pre-tape our episodes, so I don't know
Hmm.
when exactly this is going to air. But we hope you've had a good Christmas if you've had it already, and had a happy New Year and happy Kwanzaa and
I was just going to say Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy whatever. I don't
Three
want to
Kings Day.
Three Kings Day, happy, and happy birthday to those of you that have to have a birthday during the holiday season, because that's
Happy birthday, Jesus.
so. Anyway, so we'll see you on the next installment of Nick Speaks, and I promise it won't be as crazy as the last as this one. So anyway, we love you guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks, Nick.